In this video, I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on this Chevy Equinox. Let's get started. If you crawl underneath the vehicle, this is what you'll see. That's your transmission, and this right here is your engine oil pan with the 15mm drain plug that we're after. Have a drain pan ready and a 15mm wrench or a socket if you can fit one in here. Break this free. There we go. Start loosening the drain plug, keeping pressure on it so that when it's on the last thread, you can control when the oil starts flowing as opposed to it shooting out as you're still unthreading. You'll feel that it's on the last thread because it's going to start skipping. Just like that. Pull it away quickly and let all the oil drain. While that's draining, I like to inspect my drain plug. This one's in very good condition. Now, my drain plug gasket did come apart as I was removing the drain plug, so I took it off completely since it fell apart in two pieces and got myself a new one. I always recommend replacing them. You don't necessarily have to replace it every oil change, although it's recommended, but definitely if it's in poor condition or it's leaking, replace that, or the plug itself if it's stripped out or rounded off. Through the front of the vehicle, you'll see where the oil filter is located right between the AC compressor and the front exhaust manifold. You might need an oil filter wrench to remove this oil filter, so be prepared for that. And have a drain pan ready to catch the oil that will drip out of the oil filter as you remove it. Once you've loosened it up enough, remove your oil filter wrench. Once you've loosened it up enough, you should be able to remove this by hand. There we go. Finish unthreading the oil filter and remove it from the engine. Keep it upright so that more oil doesn't leak out. And just let that drain. Inspect this area to make sure the old oil filter gasket didn't stick on the engine. It is possible, but if it is stuck there, you definitely want to remove it. Otherwise, you'll double gasket the oil filter and you will have a major leak with loss of oil pressure. That looks good for me. I'm just going to wipe it down with a clean rag and move along. I recommend pre-filling your oil filter just a little bit so that the engine doesn't start up completely dry in the oil filter. Use 5W30 oil, that's what this engine takes, and I'm just going to fill it to the top. Now that doesn't mean the filter will be completely full. It just means that there's some oil in there that it can soak up. While it does that, take a clean glove, dip it into the clean oil, and lubricate the oil filter gasket, this O-ring right around the edge of the oil filter. This will prevent it from getting stuck in the future. Once that's done, you can install the oil filter on the engine. Take that filter and slide it up into position carefully. Line it up with the threads and spin it on. It should spin nice and freely. If it's hard to thread in, that means it's cross-threading, so back it off and try again. To tighten it up, you don't need an oil filter wrench. All you need is to turn it about half a turn, 3/4 at most, and that should be plenty tight for this oil filter. That's half a turn right there. Let's give it a little extra, and that's it. That's all you need to do. This is down to a drip, so I'm going to call this done. It'll drip for a while if you just leave it like this. So put the oil drain plug back with that new gasket. Wipe off any drippage. At this point, you can remove your drain pan and give it a quick snug. The torque for this is 18 foot-pounds. If you cannot get your torque wrench in here because of the exhaust, just do your best to make it nice and snug by hand with a wrench. About 1/8 of a turn after it bottoms out should do it. You just want to squish that gasket a little bit. Under the hood, this is what you'll see. Your oil filler cap right here and your engine oil dipstick right there. The oil cap says you'll need 5W30 engine oil. Turn it counterclockwise and remove it. Now, if you have a lot of debris on here, remove that before you remove the oil filler cap by either blowing compressed air or wiping it off with a rag. And you need 6 quarts of 5W30, and I recommend using a funnel just so you don't make a mess. All right, this is the last quart. Now this of course includes the amount of oil that we put in the oil filter, so keep that in mind. It's 6 quarts in total. Once you're done, remove your funnel, reinstall the oil filler cap. Here's your engine oil dipstick. It's not going to be accurate just yet because we haven't started the vehicle. However, I want to show you what to check. So remove the dipstick And I'm going to wipe it off as I remove it so that I can get an accurate reading next time I dip it in. And just so you have an idea of what to expect, you'll see several dots here with some hash marks. The top ones are going to be the full line, the bottom ones are going to be the low line. You want to be right between these two dots here. On the full side, it should be right about here. I'm going to dip the dipstick back in and check it. And would you look at that? It is perfect, right on the full mark, right there. So we're good to go. With the ignition on, whether the engine is running or not, this is what you'll see. And you'll have to use these buttons here to navigate through the screen. If you press the menu button, that brings you over to the options. And mine looks like is already set to display the remaining oil life. However, you can use the up and down arrows to navigate through the options. And then if you press the set/clear button, it'll ask you if you want to reset it. So you scroll up one to yes, and then hit set. There we go, that's set to 100%, which means it is now clear.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.